I've pressed record on this video and I don't even really know what this video is going to end up being about. I was just thinking about some decants of perfume that I have, which I've had for actually quite a long time. When I started collecting and exploring perfumes and reading about popular perfumes that sounded like they were things that I wanted to try, I tended to go the route of buying 5ml and several 10ml decants. Now, little did I know back then how long it would take me to get through 10 mils of a perfume. That's just my little bag of decants. And I guess what this video, the initial idea for this video was about was I'm coming to the end of some of these decants and I'm trying to decide, I guess, whether I want to get more or buy a bottle or whatever. I'm going to start off with this one, okay? Because this is actually, it's been pretty amazing how long I've had this decant for. About 3 years ago, I bought a decant of Serge Chergui. That was actually the very first Serge that I tried. And since then, I've bought several bottles of Serge but this, I don't know if you can see that there. That is my decant, and that's 10 mil, and I've had this for 3 years, basically. And I've worn this probably about 4 or 5 times per year over that time, maybe even more. And each time I really enjoy it. And look how dark that juice is. But anyway, besides the point, I did my review of this and I used this decant, and every time I wear it, I really enjoy wearing it. And yet when I'm not wearing it, I don't think about it that much. And now I'm coming to the end, although I think I'll probably get at least 2 or 3 more, easily 2 or 3 more wears out of that before I need to decide if I want a bottle. Right now, I'm kind of leaning to yes, because there's no reason I don't want this in my wardrobe. Although for me, Chergui is a very specific occasion perfume, not talking about like as in for parties or significant events. I mean, this is very much a midwinter perfume for me. I have worn it at other times, but I never really quite enjoy it as much as I do in that time of the year. Okay, so I've got a few of these as well, and I'll get to some kind of point eventually. But here I have a 10 ml of Labo Bergamote 22. Now, this again was purchased based on everybody talking about how this is one of the bergamot perfumes, and it could well be. I mean, it's lovely. Okay, it's a lovely bergamot note on that typical Labo woody base, which to me doesn't smell entirely like a natural woody base. Besides the point, it's a lovely bergamot note, but nearly 10 mil down, and I have no interest whatsoever in purchasing this. And in fact, I don't really wear this much anymore, even when the weather warms up, which it will soon. So I'm thinking I will probably wear this a couple of times, overspray, because I find this, kind of needs to be resprayed a bit. But that won't turn into a bottle purchase. The other notable one I've got here, Tom Ford, Noir de Noir, okay? I really like this. It is one of my favorite rose scents. And even though I enjoy it, once this is finished, I already know that I'm just not going to miss it. And it's mainly because, as opposed to Chergui, that I'm not that big a lover of rose perfumes that I need this in my wardrobe, even though it's one of my favorites. I have a couple of other much less expensive rose perfumes I enjoy, which are in rotation. So I've kind of feel like I've got rose covered, but I've enjoyed wearing Noir de Noir from Tom Ford, and you know, it's going to be quite satisfying when I finally finish this 10ml, which I've also had for well over 2 years. I'm just trying to think what else I have here. Got Chergui. Oh, and the other one is Xerjoff Nio. Okay, so I'm nearly down on that one as well. Now Nio, I'm undecided on because it is to me a fantastic green neroli scent. Reasonably linear on my skin, but I get actually quite excited wearing it every time I wear it, which is a good sign. But god damn, Xerjoff are expensive, and look, I would actually consider investing in a 50ml bottle, which will last me forever. Given the other consideration is that I mainly wear this in hot weather as well. Performance is good as well, so there's no it doesn't have too many cons, but it has taken me nearly 10ml to get to this point of indecision basically. And what this kind of brings up, what this kind of topic brings up is, I'm going to relate it back to clones in perfume. Now, some of you may know that generally I am against clones. Basically, not per se, because there is a place for them, and I'll explain that in a moment. But just whole houses that dedicate themselves to reproducing popular perfumes using gas chromatography, I believe, mainly to work out what the note pyramid is, and just recreating them with generally inferior materials. And I'm making assumptions here, because then cost will be involved, and most clone houses run at a certain price point, which makes them affordable. But my point is, with buying decants and samples generally, and just doing a lot of sampling, getting enough for you to 10ml is more than enough for you to know a fragrance. I think the sweet spot for you to really get to know, I can do reviews of fragrances. I feel like I'm confident enough to do reviews of fragrances. 2ml and up gives me enough wears, I find. If you really want to know a fragrance, 5ml may be the sweet spot. It just depends on you and how comfortable you feel with working out how long that you love a fragrance enough to buy a bottle. Now, I've lost my train of thought. Now, getting back to clones, I know that a lot of people make the argument for clones that they allow the perfumista, the perfume enthusiast, to try something, get an idea of what something is like, who cannot afford the original. For instance, the Xerjoff Nio, because here I have to pay $350 Australian dollars to buy 50ml of the real thing. Now, there are clones of Nio which might give you an approximation of what it smells like and get a certain percentage close to it, or you can spend the same amount of money that you would spend on the clone, have an amount like this, and make a judgment based on the actual perfume, and then you can decide, like I'm trying to see if you want another, you want more of the real thing. So it just kind of makes sense to me, because if you're spending money on whole bottles of clone perfumes, you're committing to that bottle. I guess you can sell it again, reselling it, but then you're also, if you're using that reason to decide if you want the real thing, you're basing your judgment on something that actually isn't the real thing. Yes, you can get an idea of something, but in my experience, when I've compared the real perfumes to clones, and I've done a few videos like that on my channel, I've always found, apart from when it comes down to personal taste, there are subtle complexities that the original usually has compared to the clone. So you're getting a painting of a real object when it comes to clones, rather than the real object. So I'm always going to advocate sampling, buying decants wherever you can. Now, yes, some perfumes that you're going to want to try are going to be harder to find in decant form or samples, but really, if you look hard enough, you should be able to find most of them. If you aren't already Facebook groups, I'm not a big fan of Facebook, but Facebook groups are great for just meeting people who are willing to do decants and sample them, send samples to you, all of that kind of thing. And I know I'm already preaching to most of you would know this, but some of you who watch this channel, who are newer perfume enthusiasts, might not know this. So I'm always going to advocate buying samples and decants where you're going to test the real thing, and you won't be stuck with a bottle that you don't like as well. And you'll probably end up saving more money in the long run than spending money on full bottle clone houses. Also, I'm not going to judge anyone for their ethical stance on clones in perfumery, but I know I feel better within myself spending money on perfumes that were created by the original perfumer, so to speak. That's kind of really all I have to say. So I'm right in the middle of lots of sampling. I still wear my bottles. I try to rotate my bottles through, but sampling is ultimately the best way to find out about what you like and your tastes, and ultimately it will become easier for you to curate your perfume wardrobe, your collection, and only have things there that you really, really love, rather than having a shelf full of bottles that you just don't care about and you regret buying, and are also harder to sell. I still don't know what this video was about, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.